Morning, Sam Salinas. Thanks for joining us, man. Just waiting for Mike to get into the studio. He's late as usual. But we're going to talk a little bit about the Spurs and, how Castle shined against China. We're also going to have Mike's take on Demolition Man. He's going to be reviewing the Demolition Man movie. That was his assignment, and he went ahead and watched the movie. So let's see what he has to say about the great Wesley Snipes and the three seashells, of course. Let's see if he figured that out. What's up, Chris Gonzalez? Who's ready for Taco Bell? Sam Salinas, of course. Like, if Mike wasn't late, he wouldn't be on time, man. What's up, Sith? What's up? He watched the Cliff Notes version. Probably. We're going to find out. We're going to find out if he really watched it or not. Yeah, but now that the Spurs ended the California Classic, now they're going to move on to the Summer League. So we'll see how that conveys for the Spurs. We're going to be able to take a look at some of the young talent they have. So let's see how they perform. Hey, what's up, Seth? He had a small call-in segment with Rudy yesterday. You want to check it out? Yeah, definitely we'll check it out. Yeah, we want to get you on too so we can go ahead and talk wrestling.
Welcome to another episode of the Alamo City Sportscast with Mike Jimenez and Joe Garcia. Make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. Join the discussion as we broadcast live from beautiful West San Antonio. And remember to tip your hosts as it helps the show grow.
Good morning, San Antonio. We're coming to you live from the beautiful West Side here, Puro Exit 7, the Marbach area. And guess who's on time right now? Just coming through the door. The one, the only, Michael Jimenez. I said, if you're not on time, if you're late, you're not on time. $1.
What's going on?
I had to give you like $10 yesterday because I was extremely
late.
How
How long have we been on?
We just started right now.
Oh, okay. Well, welcome, San Antonio.
Yeah, you're just on time.
What's going on, everybody?
I was telling them what we're going to wind up doing today is we're gonna talk a little bit about the California Classic and the Spurs versus China.
Yeah.
But more importantly, we're also going to have you give us your take and your review on Demolition Man, and we're going to see if you actually watched it or they're saying you watched the Cliff Notes version.
You know what's funny about it is that I actually watched it all the way through.
All the way through. You were able to watch it? You were able to watch the whole thing?
From midnight last night to about 2 a.m., I watched the Demolition Man for the first time ever. Cult classic, from 1993, Wesley Snipes and Sylvester Stallone. I mean,
Sandra Bullock?
How did I not know?
Sandra Bullock? She was a dime.
How did I not know that there was a movie involving a fight scene between Rocky Balboa and Willie Mays Hayes?
I'm like,
how did I not know this? And then you have, Benjamin Bratt in that movie.
Yeah.
Rob Schneider from SNL.
Yeah.
I'll break down my analysis of this movie.
Yeah,
This is the first time I'd ever seen it. To be honest with you, I had no idea what it was about.
Oh.
I was 16 years old when this movie came out, and I'm sure all my friends went, but I was like, nah, I'm all right. I'm all good.
Look at Christopher Leja. You should find him for being late, Joe. Hey, you know what? I'm wearing my MCS General Contracting hat. I guess Mike left yours.
No, I have mine in the truck. I wore it yesterday for a little while. Yeah, mine's the gray on gray one.
Yeah, I have the gray on white. So shout out to you, Christopher Leja of MCS General Contracting.
So lots to get into today. First of all, Stephon Castle put on a show yesterday at the California Summer Classic there for the Spurs, man. They took on the Chinese national team.
Hey, for a minute there, China was giving them all they could handle.
It was close in the third quarter. It was close in the
Yeah.
third quarter, but the Spurs pulled it away in the third and fourth quarter. Stephon Castle had himself a day. It brings up the question again, should this guy be starting? Because here's the thing, man. He creates a different dynamic because you know how I hate the phrase, positionless basketball? This guy's the very definition of positionless basketball.
Kid can play, man. But
and now you have Sohan, who could play positionless basketball in many ways.
Yeah.
Wemby can play the 3, 4, and 5. Sohan can play the 3 and 4, has some experience at 1. And yesterday, Stephon Castle played the point.
He did.
He played the point. He was the 2 in the first game that he played last week.
And you know what? Spurs fans still had something to nitpick about his game, and they're like, well, he played great, but he was 0 for 6 from the 3-point line.
And you know what? the positives outweigh the negatives.
I'm like, freaking
Big
eat me,
time.
dude. The kid had 18 points, right?
So
Who cares if he was 0-6 or whatever he was
he looked
from
great.
beyond the arc? His
He-
shot isn't broken. It looks good. He can develop a 3-point shot. That's
He-
not what I'm worried about.
He looked great last
I'm
night.
like,
We'll get
yeah.
into that. By the way, there's going to be breaking news that we'll discuss involving Team USA when it comes to the Olympic basketball team. Shocker! One of the guys is pulling out, right? Because the dude's always hurt. We'll get into that. But the replacement's pretty interesting. The potential replacement. The Dallas Cowboys, they're going to go into training camp in about a week and a half over in Oxnard, California. Dak Prescott still doesn't have a contract. So I saw an article today. It was a column on bloggingtheboys.com. And I want to get Joe's impression because Joe is a bleeding Dallas Cowboys fan. He doesn't want to do it. He's already picked up the Texans as his Sancha team.
Yeah.
But there's a compromise that's potentially there that Blocking the Boys brought up
Okay.
when it comes to the contract. And I want to see what your thoughts are on this potential
I probably have an
compromise.
idea. Less years, more money.
Let's talk about it. Also, we're going to be doing Demolition Man. We're also going to be talking about the fact that we now have the new best comedy of the last 20 years, according to our listeners. Over 100 people responded to a Twitter poll on that yesterday. Lots to get into today. You know what? Let's start with the breaking news. The breaking news is Kawhi Leonard has pulled out from Team USA.
Oh,
Former Spur Kawhi Leonard.
say it ain't
Former
so.
Spur great Kawhi Leonard. The 2014 NBA Finals most valuable
Did you
player
think
has
that
backed
son
out.
of a bitch was going to go to and play for Team USA?
Okay, first of all, the fact
Come
that he
on.
was actually on the roster early on surprised me because he missed the playoffs, for crying out loud.
No, he set out, dude. He's always injured.
And a degenerative issue, has a knee issue. And this is one of those things where I always talk about the fact that did we or did we not catch a break when Kawhi actually left? I know that when he landed on Zaza Pachulia's foot,
The ankle.
we were on the path for an NBA championship. I remember
Yeah.
it was Mother's Day, if I'm not mistaken. And I remember being at my sister's house. We were celebrating. We're jumping up and down. Spurs are up. Game 1. Landed on Zaza's foot. And that was a dirty play. One of the dirtiest plays we've ever seen. Zaza did that on purpose.
He knew exactly what he was doing.
Kawhi goes down with injury. Was never the same. Gets his way out. Goes to Toronto. And goes off. Wins a chip over there. Then goes to the Clippers. Spurs get DeMar DeRozan, Jakob Poeltl, and a pick that became Keldon Johnson. The Spurs have subsequently flipped those picks. DeMar DeRozan was traded. Jakob Poeltl was traded. We still have Keldon Johnson in uniform, though we don't know what jersey number that's going to be. That being said, Kawhi Leonard is a superstar when he's on the court, but the problem is that he doesn't play very often, and Kawhi Leonard
Right.
cannot be trusted because you know he doesn't tell you what's going on in his world. He doesn't talk about how hurt he is. Last season played 68 games, and I am surprised. That is the most games he had played since the 2016-2017 season. He typically misses about 25 to 30 games
Yeah.
per year.
None of our listeners that are in the comments right now are surprised that Kawhi bowed out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it does eliminate that one question I did have, though, which was what happens if Kawhi Leonard had to go for that game-winning shot against France for the gold medal and Wemby was trying to guard it? Would you want Kawhi Leonard's shot to go in? Now that goes away. That goes away. But the new question is what if Derek White was the one shooting the ball for Team USA? Because according to Shams Charania of The Athletic, the name being batted around, the strong contender is Derek White. Now, I was not really big on Team USA this year. If you looked, they did a scrimmage the other day against, Cooper Flagg and the select team, right? And guess what? Team USA won by 1, right? They
Oh,
won
man.
by 1. So why is that? It's because sometimes you need to put together a good team. And that's the problem with Team USA. They throw out there an all-star team of players when they shouldn't be doing an all-star team. They should be doing a good team out there. Heck, send the Celtics for crying out loud. If they're all American, send the Celtics. That's a good team. Not an all-star team of LeBron James and Anthony Davis and Drew Holiday and all of these guys. Put a good team together. Now, Drew Holiday is probably a bad example,
Yeah.
okay, because he plays good team ball. But Derek White going in there might be able to shore things up and provide team ball. He's not going to be the one that needs to shoot the ball. You look at Team USA's roster, and I think to myself, can they actually play together? Because It's just too many big names. Anthony Edwards, Tyrese Halliburton, Jalen Brunson, Paulo Banchero, Mikal Bridges. All these guys, guess what they like to do? They like to shoot the ball. Steph Curry likes to shoot the ball. Kevin Durant likes to shoot the ball.
Yeah.
So there's only one ball. Why not just put a good team together? And I think that with Kawhi exiting and the potential of Derek White coming in, that would be something special, because Derek White is there to do what? He's there to win the games.
He's a role player. He gives you good minutes out there on the court. He can shoot the ball. He can play defense. He does a lot of the little things that go unnoticed. So
Exactly.
I think he makes the overall team a lot better than Kawhi. Because Kawhi, let's be honest, if he had even played, he was probably going to be injured. He's probably going to wind up sitting out, a couple of games because, his hamstring was always hurting him. Which I don't believe that for a second. I believe he does have a lingering issue, but he's just milking it for all it's worth. Who gets paid not to show up to work besides Kawhi?
Right.
He's a part-time NBA player. Let's be honest, man. I'm glad that he left the San Antonio Spurs. I'm not glad that he left us in the position that we are in.
Mhm.
But everywhere he's gone, you've seen that this same acronym follows him. He's injured most of the time. He only plays half a season. If he gets into the playoffs, he plays for 1 or 2 games, then he's injured again. I mean, it's a blessing in disguise for Team USA, and it was for the San Antonio Spurs as well.
So Team USA released a statement regarding Kawhi Leonard, and this is according to Bleacher Report, and thank you to those who tagged us in this, by the way. It goes on to say, quote, Kawhi has been ramping up for the Olympics over the past several weeks and had a few strong practices in Las Vegas. He felt ready to compete. However, he respects that Team USA basketball and the LA Clippers determined it's in his best interest to spend the remainder of the summer preparing for the upcoming season rather than participating in the Olympic Games in Paris. So he wasn't hurt.
Yeah.
He was healthy enough to practice, healthy enough to play. Again, where does the loyalty reside? Because the Spurs are allowing Wemby to go out there and play for Team France. They allowed Sohan to go out there and play and represent Poland.
For Poland, yeah.
There are a lot of NBA players that are out there. But when one is injury prone, and when I say injury prone, I'm talking about every damn year.
Yeah.
Every damn 3-6 months. What did they think was going to happen? And if the Clippers are the one who put the kibosh on this, if the Clippers are the one who came out and said, no, Kawhi, you cannot play. No, Kawhi, no Team USA. We are not supportive of this. That is the Clippers' God-given right to do that, man. He is their employee. And his main focus should be that, because if this guy goes out there and he's injury-prone, goes out there and gets hurt again and is out for the year, who cares if he was representing the red, white, and blue? Who cares? The red, white, and blue, the taxpayer don't pay his salary. The Clippers do.
Yeah. And somebody had put in here, one of our listeners here had put, at what point do the Clippers just go ahead and give up on him?
They can't.
That was Alonzo. At what point the Clippers just give up on Kawhi?
Well, the problem is that he's under contract. And he signed a very, very large contract to be with the Clippers. So you can't just say, I'm going to get rid of him.
And that was part of the problem that he had, too, with, Paul George had with Kawhi, because he basically told the Clippers front office, you pay me what you paid Kawhi, and we good. And they're like, no, we're not going to do it.
Kawhi Leonard's owed $150 million over the next 3 years. He's owed 49 and change this year, 50 next season, the season after next. And then in 2026, 2027 is owed over $50 million. And then he becomes an unrestricted free agent. But at that point, he and his knees are going to be 36 years old.
Oh, he's done at that point. This is probably his last contract. I doubt if he's going to be able to make it through the end of his contract.
I like Tony Ornelas over here, his comment on our YouTube stream. Again, you can be part of our YouTube stream. Says Derek White is a big part of Boston's big three. He brings so much impact. It was a better fit for him in Boston than San Antonio. And Tony, I've said this before, and I'll say this about Stephon Castle as well. I don't know if Stefan Castle is going to make a bad team good, but he can make a good team great. And I think the same thing about Derek White. I think the same thing about Drew Holiday. They make good teams great. On a bad team, they can't do what they do. And you know what, Joe? I'm going to go ahead and say this. As the Spurs get better, do you know who I think might become a player that makes a good team great?
Oh,
Jeremy Sohan. Because Sohan does the little things, the dirty things. The problem is that he cannot be your main focal point on offense, but he can make a good team great.
yeah.
You put a Sohan with the Celtics, you put a Sohan with the Denver Nuggets or with the Milwaukee Bucks or the Minnesota Timberwolves. He can make a good team better. It's just he's not the foundational piece. He's the whipped cream on top. He's the cherry on top. He's not the banana and the ice cream.
Yeah. I like this comment here by Tex-Mex Frank. Is there an official start time for the show, or is it Spectrum time?
Nice. Okay, well, first and foremost, I almost got into a car accident on the way over here. Did you hear when I was on the phone with you? What were the last words you heard me say? I started cussing.
Yeah.
I slammed on the brakes on the way over here, right in front of Stevens High School.
Man.
Right in front of Stevens High School, there was an emergency vehicle on the side of the road, right? And traffic was moving pretty well. But about 4 cars ahead of me, someone slammed on the brakes for whatever reason. And the next car slammed on the brake. The next car, dude, I thought I was going to rear end the truck in front of me, and all traffic stopped. So that's why I was a few minutes late. How long were we on before I kind of came on? 15 seconds, 20 seconds?
Maybe I was just doing the intro. I said, good morning and, welcome to beautiful West San Antonio. And then I hear the garage
door. The garage door open up. Okay. So, Kawhi Leonard being out, but I respect the Clippers. The Clippers are building a palace that's $2 billion, right? They need their star players to be there and be healthy. And if they're losing players, they're losing talent. Paul George gone. You need to have your star players or whatever star players you have available there.
Look at Jonathan C, because you're talking about Sohan, he says. So what you're saying is that Sohan is a good role player. Tell us something we don't know.
Well, okay, so yeah, but I think that's putting it slightly. See, that's the problem that I've had with Jeremy Sohan. It's not that I think that he sucks. It's not that I think he's a bad player. The thing about it is that he's not the foundational piece to kind of get things going. He's a great role player, but he's a different type of role player. He's a hustling type of role player who can make a good team great. Yeah. When I see him, I see Derek White. I see Drew Holiday. That same thing I think of Stephon Castle. I see these types of players there that you need to have the foundational pieces there so that those guys can shine. But speaking of shining, Stephon Castle yesterday. Dude, it just proves to me he's ready to play in the NBA. And I had arguments with my good friend Sean for the past 3 or 4 or 5 months. And this is how I know, Joe. People come after me on social media, on Twitter especially, and they go, "You don't know basketball," and they spell it with
"You don't know ball."
You don't know ball with large caps, small caps, and all that because it's supposed to make me sound stupid, right? Who have I wanted on this team since like December? I've been calling it out, and I'm going to go check the tape. Locked On Spurs, when I was on Locked On Spurs with Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs and Ken's 5, I said several times on Los that the guy I wanted on this team was who? Stephon Castle.
Yeah.
And who did they get?
Stephon Castle.
When we had our party over at Pete's Place in Helotes, and they announced with the number 4 pick in the 2024 NBA draft, the San Antonio Spurs select Stephon Castle. What did I scream? My son.
And you picked up your shirt and you went, I'm just playing.
Yeah, dude, I almost did the truffle shuffle. This is the guy that the Spurs needed. And watching them play yesterday, and I know they're playing against the Chinese national team, and I know they're playing against a bunch of G League players.
JHNSB says you wanted Reed Shepherd, Mike.
No, I wanted Reed Shepherd if things fell a certain way. Check the tape, dude. I've been talking about Stephon Castle from the get-go. The whole thing about Reed Shepherd was that was an interesting take because there was a belief that the Houston Rockets were going to pull a trade with Portland and that Reed Shepherd would be available.
Yeah. Look at JHNSB. And this is the interesting aspect of this whole, California Classic and Summer League. He says Castle looked light years ahead of City Sissoko already. Pretty funny.
Dude, City Sissoko got blocked by the bottom of the backboard on a layup. He went for a drive and he was so far underneath the backboard, underneath the basket, that he got blocked by the backboard. Well, that's to be expected because City Sissoko, if I'm not mistaken, was the number 44 pick in the draft, whereas Stephon Castle was the number 4 overall pick in the draft.
Yeah.
That's the thing is that a lot of Spurs fans, I see it all day long on Twitter and on Facebook coming out and saying Well, you got to bring him off the bench. The Spurs didn't do that to Jeremy Sohan. Jeremy Sohan started all but 3 of his games as a rookie.
Yeah.
And guess what? Stephon Castle is light years ahead of what Jeremy Sohan was on day one. Where Jeremy Sohan was on October of 2022 when he first played for the Spurs, Stephon Castle's already better than that. Now, I'm not saying that Castle's better than Sohan right now.
Yeah.
But what I am saying is that where they were in comparison to starting the season, Jeremy Sohan is not even close to the player that Stephon Castle is at that point in their careers.
Yeah, we had some breaking news by Fernandez. He said it's official. Mark Spears said Derek White will replace Kawhi on Team USA.
That's beautiful.
So,
and that's the thing about Team USA. It's not like Team USA looked around and thought to themselves, what are we going to do now? They had alternates, and everyone knew who the alternates were. Shams Charania was reporting it. Now we have verification from Spears. That is pretty cool. But Stephon Castle last night, let's talk about him. His stat line yesterday was pretty glorious. I know he was 0 for 6 from 3. He was not afraid to shoot the ball. He's 8 for 21, only 38%. But 6 rebounds, 5 assists. And what I saw from him was that the dude has handles.
Yeah, he does, man.
It's not one of those things where they're trying to convert Sohan into a point guard. What he has said from the get-go, Stephon Castle said from the get-go was, I feel more comfortable at the point.
Yeah, he didn't play the point in college because they didn't want him to.
They already had a point guard.
Exactly.
They had to put him on the court, so they had him play the 2 or 3, and he thrived with that. Think about that. He was the number 4 overall pick in the draft, despite the fact he was playing out of position.
Yeah.
Okay? He is a point guard. That is what he did in high school. You say, well, that's high school. That was a year and a half ago. He was playing high school ball. He goes out there, looks so comfortable. Some of the passes that he does out there are so crisp.
Doesn't mean miss a beat. He's in mid-stride, and he's just passing them, dude.
Dude, there's some
dishing.
Velocity on those passes.
Dishing dimes, man.
Velocity. I make fun of Caitlin Clark, and I call her a lazy passer.
Oh.
He is the anti-Caitlin Clark when it comes to passing in the front court.
Yeah, he can find his guys, man, no doubt.
And there were certain plays out there where he was kind of weaving his way. He looked a little bit. It's kind of funny because he's playing a 1-2-3 combo. There were some times when I saw him weave his way through the lane and just pop it in from 14 feet. I was like, dude, that's DeMar DeRozan. And then I saw him play defense, and I'm like, that's Derek White. And then I saw him make another move, and I'm like, oh my God, that's Sean Elliott. Oh my God, that's Tony Parker. Oh my, I see so many different players when I watch him play. Yes, he was 0 for 6 from 3. Yes. And in fact, when he shot those threes, there were a couple of them that he shot where he double clutched a little bit. It wasn't a broken shot. To be honest with you, he didn't want to shoot it. He let it fly because he knew he had to. He knew he's supposed to. That is his job to do it. But there was a couple of them in the third quarter where he hitched it a little bit, and it wasn't a Sohan hitch where it was a bad form. It was him thinking.
Yeah, he wasn't confident.
Yeah, there was a confidence level on that. But every other aspect beyond the three-point line, him driving into the lane, him playing defense, him dishing the ball, him crashing the boards, it was so instinctual that it worked out so well. But when he was thinking was when he was 23 feet away from the basket.
Yeah, one of our listeners had made a comment saying that when Tony Parker came into the league, he couldn't shoot a 3 either.
He couldn't either.
But he developed that.
It wasn't a broken shot.
Yeah.
He just had to develop it. Little Mac asking the question, how many Castle dimes were blown last night? At least 3, man. At least 3. You look at the stat line, you go, okay, well, look at that. He had 5 assists. He should have had 8 or 9. Okay, because 3 of them were missed layups by various players. But Stephon Castle, people asked me the question over, I think it was Sith Elias this morning on Twitter asking the question, is he a starter? Well, he is. He's a starter talent. I just don't know who you take out of the lineup. Chris Paul was brought in for a reason. Devin Vassell's the highest paid player and is probably the best 2 guard. You got Harrison Barnes. You're going to move him from the 3 to the 4. Sohan, are you kicking Sohan to the bench? I know they're all going to play starter minutes, but Stephon Castle is actually a legit starter in this league.
Look at what Tony Ornelas says. He goes, when I see Stephon Castle, I see a new and better version of John Morant. When he gets better at the 3, oh my God, watch out.
I wouldn't doubt it, man. And it's one of those things where you mentioned who the comparisons of Stephon Castle. This is the exciting thing. The Spurs got the player that is most NBA ready in the NBA right now. There's a reason why that when I was in Vegas the other day and I was at the DraftKings sportsbook kiosk, when I was over there and I was looking up the NBA Rookie of the Year, there's a reason why he's the third best odds. And I would go on to say he is the most ready player in the NBA right now as a rookie. I'm sorry, Alex Sarr is not ready. Zachary Reese-Sarchet is not ready. Reed Shepherd might be ready if they give him the opportunity there in Houston. But my goodness, man, you're watching. He was a man amongst boys yesterday. You could just tell by actual talent out there. And City Sissoko looked out of sorts. 1 for 5 yesterday.
We did get a $5 super chat here from Drew. So thanks, Drew, from the Drew Show. Appreciate you.
Yeah, he says Mike and his sons. Mike adopts more wayward sports sons than Mia Farrow, Angelina Jolie, and Charlize Theron combined. That's funny. That's funny. I guess this is my fourth son. This is my fourth son. But this is one that I followed all through college. This reminds me, Joe, of Devin Vassell. And Drew Show and I go back and forth about Devin Vassell because I'm a Devin Vassell stan. I believe that Vassell's a good player, right? And I know he misses 10 to 15 games a year with injury, but I think he's a really good player.
You're a Devin Vassell apologist?
I am a Vassell apologist. Hey, man, I'd rather be an apologist for a guy averaging 19 points per game.
What do you call Matt Lerma? A pop
apologist?
Oh, God.
Dude, he got offended that time I said that. He got offended.
We need to get Matt back on so we can talk a little bit about the upcoming season. But also, we need to get Sith on so we can talk a little bit about wrestling as well.
Tim Gonzalez, if Castle was on Team USA, will Mike Jimenez root for USA? USA. But without that, because Derek White ain't going to do it for me, man. Without that, I am cheering for Wemby. Still the red, white, and blue. That's the color of their flag as well. But I cheer for my Spurs, baby. Screw LeBron James. I would rather have Wemby win a gold medal this year than see LeBron James and his pampered ass up on the stage on the podium getting a gold. Who would you rather watch? Because I know that's Fernandez.
I'd rather see Wemby, man.
Fernandez, who oftentimes hosts here on Friday. Yeah. United States Marine Corps, he has to say Team USA.
Oh, no. He would say Team USA, but his heart would say France.
Yeah.
Viva la France.
I know that he'd have a tear there, a tear of joy if Wemby
he'd
got
be
the
saying,
gold.
That's my son on the podium if Wemby went and won with France. Look at what Sith Elias is saying. He says, am I the only non-NBA player's son? Yes, people. Mike in person greets me as Mijo.
That is true. Mijo, come here. I even think that I called your wife. What did I say? I asked how her, the parents. I was like, where are the compadres? But last night also, Harrison Ingram, the Spurs second-round draft pick, had himself a night. 3 of 5 from 3. In form. He's 6'5.5", 26 minutes played, shot 3 for 5 from 3, 6 from 10 overall, 16 points of the night, 10 rebounds, had a double-double. Also had 3 assists, couple of steals. Dude, Harrison Ingram was looking pretty good. I questioned the size, though, because they were saying he's 6'5.5", but he does have the wingspan. He's could he be a future replacement for a Keldon Johnson? If they do want to get Keldon out.
Look, it's Fernandez. I've got the Wemby France jersey.
For real? That is true.
He's got it on standby.
That is true. Stefan Castle, yesterday, the broadcasters who were doing this for NBA TV were saying that Castle keeps talking about wanting to make an all-NBA defensive team. And one of the announcers said, when you look at him, you could see the potential, the upside of an all-star. Could he be a Tyrese Maxey? Could he? Because Tyrese Maxey, when Maxey came in the league, was drafted in the 20s?
Yeah,
right?
He was.
He came into the league and they were like, yeah, he's a lockdown defender, but his shot. But he had handles.
Yeah.
I think that the Tyrese Maxey is the high-end potential for Stephon Castle. I think the low end, he's Drew Holiday. I mean, worst case scenario, he's Drew Holiday, which is a very good player, a very good starter who played for 15 years in the NBA. Midtown Texas says, breaking news, Mike hates the USA. Nice.
You're not going to be wearing your, what, if you do root for Team USA, we got to get you one of those hats that has the American Eagle and the mullet. attached to it.
Nice. I like this comment from Mario Cavasso saying Harrison Ingram is another Quindary Witherspoon. Don't piss in my Cheerios just yet, man. He looked, you know what? He looked very calm out there. And what Harrison Ingram did yesterday's games was he had good reaction. He didn't have to be set up. There were some times when, we mentioned somebody saying that Stephon Castle had a few dimes that didn't connect because the shooter missed the ball, missed the layup or whatever. But who cleaned it up? It was Harrison Ingram.
Yeah.
Harrison Ingram had a really good ball, got poked away. He picks it up from 10 feet out in the lane, goes straight back up, money. And he looked good.
Yeah.
$5 super chat coming in from Drew Show. By the way, you can also buy us a coffee. Top left, we have a QR code there if you want to support the show. It says $50 bet between me and you, Mike. If Devin misses more games to injury than Chris Paul, you pay me. If Chris pays more, misses more than Devin, I pay you. I'll take that bet.
Okay.
I'll take that bet. I have no problem with that. Because you see Chris Paul miss about 20, 25 games per year. Devin Vassell misses 10 to 15. That's just it. Four Pawns coming in with, I like Ingram, Malik Rose 2.0.
There was nothing wrong with Malik Rose. He would come off the bench sometimes, and he'd give you a good couple minutes. He was a high-energy player. The only problem with Malik Rose, he just couldn't shoot very well, and he was undersized at his position.
Can I throw out another name?
Yeah.
Boris Diaw.
Hey, Boris Diaw was pretty good, dude.
Because, Ingram could shoot the three.
Yeah.
He looked very comfortable. You can pass the ball, had 10 rebounds. He looked a lot like Boris Diaw there yesterday. And what I like about Harrison Ingram, the second that he was drafted by the Spurs in the second round, again, we talked about this. This is where I give Brian Wright his flowers. He got blue bloods.
Yeah.
He got Stephon Castle from UConn. He got Ingram from North Carolina. And you know that these guys are going to be coached up, and they're going to be coached up in an NBA standard.
Yeah. They come from a great pedigree,
But Ingram, the social media post when he got drafted was, just give me a chance. And then he comes in, gets interviewed by San Antonio media, and he goes, I will do whatever it takes. You need me to get boards, I'll get boards. You need me to pass the ball, I'll get the ball. You need me to shoot the ball, I'll shoot the ball. Just tell me what I need to do. But I know that my number one job is not to be the scoring load. And he's coming in wanting to do the little things. Maybe he's Sohan 2.0.
Hey, that's going to get in Pop's good graces, because sometimes Pop just wants you out there to do the little things, rebound, get those 50-50 balls, set those picks, those screens.
Maybe he gets the two-way contract. We saw City Sissoko. Dude, City Sissoko looked lost yesterday.
Yeah, dude. He's not coming along very well. I had high hopes for him, but after seeing him in, just these couple of games, maybe he'll look better at the Vegas Summer League, but he's not looking very good.
Yeah, he didn't look good at all. And you see him on the court with Stephon Castle, and you think to yourself, wow, one's an NBA player, the other one is not, man, or at least not yet. City Sissoko did very well in the G League last year. Maybe it was just an off game, but he looked like he was running at a different pace, and not in a good way.
Yeah, look at what Little Mac is saying. He says, I might be the minority here, but I want Keldon on this team. His energy and physicality is perfect for the second.
I don't mind. I really don't mind it. The thing is that if the Spurs are going to improve the team by bringing in additional talent, a Lauri Markkanen type of player, a Brandon Ingram type of player, the first person out the door is going to be Keldon Johnson.
We got a DeJuan Blair sighting here. DeJuan Blair, the Spurs GOAT, meaning he was bad.
It was exciting to watch. And I know it's the Chinese national team, and the Chinese national team, I think, lost all 3 games. But the Spurs were out there doing the Spurs things.
But you know what? The one thing that I did notice about the Chinese national team, people don't associate China as a powerhouse in basketball.
Mm-hmm.
But what they were able to do with the players they had on the court, they were able to hang in this game for 3 quarters. And they played a really good game against the San Antonio Spurs young team that doesn't have a lot of experience. Of course, the Spurs winded up finally pushing away, or in near the end of in the fourth quarter. But China is competitive.
They were, and on top of that, you had the fact that Kyle Anderson, former Spurs slow-mo, was on the bench supporting the Chinese national team.
Well, he is a Chinese citizen. He's going to be representing or playing for China, I think, in the Olympics.
Yeah, that's his heritage, man. But again, Stephon Castle, who does he start in front of if he does become a starter? He better be starting by January. He better, because he's one of the best players on this team already.
Look at for Punish. The Gravy says, "Is it possible playing with guys who have day jobs is hurting Cody?" Somebody said yesterday these guys are realtors, real estate agents.
Yeah, they're plumbers, they're realtors. And nothing wrong against plumbers and realtors, but
they have real jobs.
I mean, with Jonathan Simmons when he played for the Spurs, he tried out. And,
he had to pay $100 or whatever dollars. To try
he
out.
didn't have the right shoes and whatnot. It was a great story. That should be a Disney story, man. That a Disney movie type of thing, like The Rookie, with Dennis Quaid back in the day. My name's Mike Jimenez. That's Joe Garcia. Let's give some love to Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs, because, man, he has been doing a ton of work the last 2 weeks getting you all that Spurs coverage. Jeff Garcia, you can follow him at Jeff G Spurs Zone on Twitter and on Threads.
Yep. Locked On Spurs is your daily Spurs podcast, hosted by Jeff Garcia, the lead Spurs writer for Ken's 5 San Antonio. Jeff has a healthy plethora of guests all the time on the Locked On Spurs podcast. You can also follow Jeff on Threads at Jeff G Ken's 5 SA. You can also follow Jeff on Twitter at Jeff G Spurs Zone. So make sure you go ahead and give Jeff a follow, not only on Threads and Twitter, but also on YouTube at youtube.com/@Locked On Spurs. This is where you're going to be able to find the replay of the Locked On Spurs podcast. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share.
I subscribe on Spotify and YouTube, and you should as well. Daily content. I'm oftentimes a guest. And when I'm a guest, I start talking about Stephon Castle in January, February, and March.
Mijo.
Joe Garcia is also one of the normal guests, regular guests on there. There's an article that Jeff Garcia has about Vegas odds about Brandon Ingram. What happens if he doesn't stay with New Orleans? Talking about the fact that the Spurs are one of the favorites to land the small forward, Brandon Ingram, the number 2 overall pick from a handful of years ago. Dude, I mean, if the Spurs are trying to win,
they want to win now.
They want to win now. And I respect it. I respect it, because you see these articles coming out about Lauri Markkanen. And we know on the other side with the Utah Jazz, you have Danny Ainge. And Danny Ainge wants to collect picks.
Yeah, he wants to fleece teams, man.
Now, the report is that the Jazz got an offer from some team, we don't know what team it is, of 3 first-rounders. And they said no. If Brian Wright was the one behind those 3, we'll never know.
Yeah.
But if he was behind those 3, I would applaud him.
He tried.
If he's to come out and say that 4 was too much according to him and his calculations, I buy it. I buy it because this season, I did not want to have a developmental season where the Spurs were going out there with no veterans.
And
we now have a Chris Paul to talk to and mentor on the court, off the court, on trips, on the plane, in the hotel, in practice, training camp. We now have a Chris Paul to go up and mentor Stephon Castle and mentor Trey Jones.
I think the flip side of that you're forgetting too is Harrison Barnes. Now you have 2 leaders on this court.
Exactly. Now they may not be long-term plays for the Spurs, but we saw Shai Gilgeous-Alexander when did he take that leap? Right when he was with Chris Paul.
Yeah.
Because they were on the same team together. Chris Paul handed the reins over at some point. And I'm not saying that he was the player coach, but he kind of was in a way.
Yeah.
And that now you have Harrison Barnes, who can then mentor Wemby and mentor Jeremy Sohan.
Yeah.
And so now there's lately. So if we're going to have a developmental season now I don't care. And when I say I don't care, it's not to say that I want the Spurs to lose or win. What I'm saying is that I now
just want him to get better.
I have more confidence now in Brian Wright, because now you're seeing that, okay, even if this is a developmental season and the Spurs only win 30 games, the corporate knowledge that's going to be gained from this year, I can respect.
Yeah.
I did not want to have a team going out there where the Spurs literally punted the season, and we're like, we're gonna trot out the same
another
12 guys out there
season,
because that was not going to improve the team at all.
Yeah, the young team showed you that this ain't it, man.
I talk about how I don't like Pop as the head coach because I question the ability to identify at age 76 when he turns 76 in January. But I can see a Chris Paul identifying I can see a Trey Jones and a Stephon Castle identifying with Chris Paul. I can see a Jeremy Sohan identifying with Harrison Barnes. I can see a Keldon Johnson identifying with Harrison Barnes. Now the Spurs have a plan in place, and now I feel a lot more comfortable as a Spurs fan. I'm no longer on the ledge, the edge of the ledge, wondering if I'm going to jump or not. So I'm excited.
One of the things that I liked about the press conference that they had yesterday when they talked to not only Chris Paul, but also to Harrison Barnes is Chris Paul was apologizing to Spurs fan. He was telling them, you know, you might have to take a little step back. In other words, kind of forewarning them.
Mm-hmm.
I apologize for what I'm about to do on the court because he wants to win. And I think what he's trying to tell him is he's got that dog in him and he's got that leadership quality. So if somebody is out of position and does something stupid out there on the court, instead of them just putting their head down and going to sit down and Pop not saying a damn thing, Chris Paul's going to wind up getting in their face and calling them out and telling them, what the F is wrong with you?
And
what are you doing?
That's the identifying that the Spurs needed to have. Jeff Garcia also has an article right now saying that Chris Paul talked about the idea of playing with Wemby, helped him decide that he wanted to go there, right? And how Spurs second-round pick Juan Nunez was replaced on Team Spain. People were asking the question, wasn't Jeff Garcia supposed to be on today? He was, but there's so much Spurs business going on right now with Chris Paul in town, Harrison Barnes in town. There's so much going on at the Rocket La Cantera that he has to go do his job.
He gets called into work and has to, do an article or something last minute, and that's what happened in this case. So, if he's able to get freed up, he'd probably call back in. But we'll shoot for tomorrow. Maybe we can have him on tomorrow.
We are 976 subscribers strong as of this morning. Yesterday was an interesting day because half the city was without internet service, but we still got a few hundred views.
Pour some out for Spectrum users, man. That's the thing with Spectrum. If you have Spectrum internet, drop it, man. Spectrum internet is ass. And this is coming from me being an IT analyst, right? I do that for a living. That's my day job.
Yeah.
And I can't even tell you how bad their infrastructure is over there. I'm surprised it works most days.
Well, I have AT&T.
I do too, and I don't have any issues. But I saw how they actually laid the lines down, the fiber optic lines here in my neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
It's rock solid, dude.
Well, there was a time yesterday when I was just working from home. I work from home. I'm in the finance gig, so investments, insurances, and things like that. I've had a practice for 19 years. And long story short, I was at home with the dogs, working on a client case. I was signing a new client. I was down to the last question on the application, which had taken me over an hour to do. This strong ass gust of wind hit the wall and it knocked out the electricity and the Wi-Fi for like 2 hours. By the time all everything kind of came back up, and it finally did come back up, my application was gone. I had to restart it from scratch. It sucked.
And you know what? I can attest to this. I went to pick up my daughter around the 2 o'clock, somewhere around there, 2:15, 2:30. I was out here on 151. You know how they have the traffic all stupid when you're exiting 151 to get on 1604. So I'm getting over there, and as I'm getting there, I'm like, man, these clouds look kind of dark. And then you start seeing lightning off in the distance. And by the time I got to UTSA, man, it was just pouring, dude.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as we're coming back on the highway on 1604, it was pretty bad. And when I got home, I mean, the winds were really picking up. So when I got back here, thank God that nothing got damaged, but there was some branches that came off on the tree, the small ones. But the neighbor, like 3 houses down, I mean, a chunk of the tree's branch, I mean, a big chunk was in the middle of the yard. And they were out there looking, and he was looking up like, he was like, damn, like he was surprised, like, if maybe they were walking underneath that, somebody might have gotten hurt.
I'm glad that my dog Daisy wasn't outside. We can go to 2 Box, by the way. Yeah. I'm glad that that my dog Daisy was out there, because my dog Daisy would have just flown out like a kite, would have just flown out into the middle of nothingness had he been out there in the wind. But a lot of people without it was a lot of it was outside of 410. North side was out, downtown area, the Ingram Park Mall area was out.
Yeah.
And it's so funny. So many people were like, we got a lot of rain. Dude, I didn't get anything. I got some this morning.
Yeah.
But absolutely crazy day yesterday. Also, keep an eye out for all your friends and family out there in Houston, because I know people. I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday. She evacuated to Lake Charles.
Yeah, Drew from the Woodlands lives out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, and they were asking us what our subscriber count was.
976.
976 so far. It looks like we got a new a viewer that came in here. They said, "Welcome to the live show." Daniel Bautista.
Daniel Bautista, welcome to the show, baby.
And look at Chris Leja. I'll bet you, man. He says, "I bet the Spurs win 29 to 32 games max. I'll take that bet with you. We'll bet a case of beer again if you want, Leja. He bought me a case of Modelo the last time. And this time we'll bet another case of Modelo. I'm thinking that the Spurs are going to win at least 38 to 40 games."
You know, I mean, I'll take that bet in the sense that I'll take the odds of the Spurs going 40 and, you know, like I did last year, right? But the fact of the matter is that the Spurs are going to be better this year. And it's going to translate into wins. It's just how many wins is that going to translate into? The corporate knowledge being there of Harrison Barnes, of Chris Paul being part of the team. How many does that translate to? I think it automatically translates, just the corporate knowledge will translate into like 6 or 7 victories. And I think that them being on the team is going to translate to 6 or 7 victories, which gets you to about 36.
The one thing that people are forgetting here is you saw Wemby, and he was really good near the end of the season, right?
Yeah.
Dominating. We saw him at his worst. This season.
Yeah, he can only get better.
He's going to be a heck of a lot better right out the gate, and I think that's going to translate into more wins along with the veteran presence that you have on the court.
So we have Harrison Barnes who takes over for Julian Champagnie. Harrison Barnes is a legit small forward. Champagnie is not, okay? And there's a chance that Champagnie might come back on this team. Spurs still have, I think, like $7 million to spend on 2 players. So Champagnie, maybe Mamu come back. But that's not a starter in the NBA. Champagnie would not have started for any team in the NBA other than the Spurs. Harrison Barnes is a legit small forward. He's a champion. He's a 39% three-point shooter. This is a guy that's going to improve the team, right? Sohan gets to stay in his lane. I think Sohan gets better because he gets to focus on what he does better. Trey Jones having Chris Paul in his ear. Stephon Castle having Chris Paul in his ear. Wemby taking a leap because now he's more comfortable. The confidence level of it all. Vassell hopefully getting over injuries and still averaging 19 to 20 points per game. The Spurs are going to improve. If you're going to tell me that they're going to be a 22-win team, I'd be surprised because this is a better team.
There's no way, man.
No way they're going to be a 22-win team.
If they are, the pop's tanking hard, bro.
Got Cooper Flag out there, but I think this team minimum wins is 30.
You know,
I think minimum is 30. I think likely is 36. I think it'd be a hell of a season if the Spurs got to 500.
Look at somebody agrees with you with Champagnie. He is not an NBA player.
Got paid to do cardio, man. Got paid to do cardio.
Yeah. You know, one thing that it gets overlooked here is something that we kind of talked about. Not a lot of people are talking about this, but it is something that is up for debate. The Spurs have a shit ton of picks, right? They have a ton of picks. But the thing is that, like we're telling everybody, you don't necessarily want to hang on to these picks for an extended period of time, right? Because sometimes if it's a pick swap, what have you, it might not convey. So it's really, you really got nothing. But they are tradable assets. So at some point in time, the Spurs are going to have to get aggressive if they're going to want their guy and go after him. Case in point, Lauri Markkanen, maybe Brandon Ingram, because you have to use these picks as trade assets. Again, if you hang on to them and they don't pan out, what good did it do you holding on to it?
Well, look at it this way. The Spurs last year were what? The 3rd or 4th worst team in the NBA, 5th worst team in the NBA when it was all said and done. I'm looking at the odds on MGM, BetMGM online right now of who's going to win the NBA Finals. They have the Spurs better than Portland, better than Washington, Detroit, Toronto, Charlotte, Brooklyn, Utah, Chicago, Atlanta. So they have the Spurs out of 30 teams around 20.
Yeah.
So that means the Spurs theoretically could only be 5 teams away from being a middle of the pack team.
Yeah.
And you know what the middle of the pack gets you? Gets you in the play-in tournament.
Play-in tournament. But right now in the West, as the team is currently constructed, are they the worst team in the West? I don't think so anymore.
No.
I think they were prior to all these moves being made. But you still have the other teams in the West that are better than the Spurs. Pelicans are better. The Mavs are better. Houston is better. Timberwolves are better. Denver is better.
Well, Portland's trash. Portland's a dumpster fire.
Yeah.
And keep in mind, because the 2025 season the 2025 NBA draft is going to be so big.
Yeah.
As far as talent is concerned, there's going to be a race to the bottom. So the Spurs might pick up wins from teams that are outright tanking. Utah, is going to tank.
Look at Little Mac.
New Orleans might tank.
He says, would you trade every pick we have for the number 1 next year? Damn right I might. Damn right I might.
For Cooper Flag, I would give up 4 first-rounders. Automatic. Make it happen, dude. I mean, yeah. We saw Cooper Flag with Team Select go up against Team USA, all those all-stars, and was just balling on them, and he's 17.
Look at Jesse Martinez. Spurs versus LA for the play-in championship.
Remember the Lakers? They raised that banner for the in-season tournament.
Yeah, the in-season tournament. That's stupid, man.
So let's talk some Cowboys.
Oh, we talking about Dakota Rain Prescott. The
clock is on, and the NFL Network, Ian Rappaport, has a podcast where he was being interviewed, and they asked him a question about Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott is entering the final season of his contract with the Dallas Cowboys. And if the Cowboys don't re-sign him, the Cowboys let him walk, there's so much dead cap space. The Cowboys can't trade him because he has a no-trade clause. The Cowboys have so much dead cap space. Ian Rappaport has reiterated on his podcast that Dak has more leverage in a negotiation than any quarterback in NFL history, and that is what Jerry and Stephen Jones did. Because what is dead cap space? It's basically cap space that doesn't exist if he walks. If he walks, you're like, oh, great, we don't have Dak. We don't need him anymore, right? But at the same time, lop off $60 million off of your salary cap, you're screwed. He has so much leverage. So Ian Rappaport was saying, look, we all know that Dak Prescott, who was second overall in the MVP voting last year, is going to command a lot of money. We saw Trevor Lawrence become the highest paid quarterback at over $56 million per year. So Dak's going to get more than that. But Dak could be the first player in NFL history to make $60 million in a season. A lot of Cowboy fans don't think he's worth it. No quarterback is worth it unless your name is Patrick Mahomes. But the fact of the matter is that this is the economics of football, right? You either win with a star player or you hope that you have a CJ Stroud in Houston with a rookie contract or a Joe Burrow in Cincinnati to kind of bring you up, right?
Yeah.
A Brock Purdy. Wait till San Francisco has to pay Brock Purdy. You look at the Cowboys. They're effed. Almost let it out. They're effed. And Ian Rappaport was there saying, look, man, why don't the Cowboys just do this? Give the man his money. How about offering him $180 million over 3 years? So not a 5 or 6 or 7 year deal, but structure it so that at the end of the 3 years, there's no dead cap space necessarily. It's a clean break. He can become an unrestricted free agent at that point, negotiate the final contract of his career, and at least the Cowboys get to have a decent quarterback for the next 2 or 3 years as they try to retool around him. Joe, you are a Cowboy fan. The idea of bringing him back, but not long-term, just short-term, but with a clean break at the end of the rainbow. Your thoughts?
I think it's the Cowboys, if they have the opportunity to move away from Dakota Rain Prescott, you do it now. Why are you going to keep him around? Because he's already shown you that he's late in mediocrity. While he can put up decent numbers during the regular season, he's proven he is not the guy that is going to get you far in the playoffs. At this point, he's damaged goods, man. Move on. You've already sold your soul for nothing. You overpaid Dak, you overpaid Zeke. You couldn't keep the other players, the other role players on this team. Your defense lost you, like somebody said, the game against Green Bay last season. The Cowboys are one of these teams that are always looking good on paper, but they just never can get it together during the playoffs. And right now, to me, Dakota, he's already proven he's not the guy. You move on.
Well, I mean, I understand.
Yeah.
As Spurs fans, we look at the Spurs, and James Pledger, who was on our show on Monday, he hosts a show on San Antonio Sports on 94.1 FM from 6 to 7 p.m. weekdays. the question that he had was, or he told me was like, hey, Jimenez, you don't know what it's like to go through a rebuild. It takes many, many years. Are Cowboy fans ready to pull the plug? Because if you take out Dak Prescott, that team is not only going to lose, they're going to lose almost every game.
You know what? It's better for them to go ahead and get back to sucking than to go ahead and just keep giving you false hope.
I respect it.
It's time to go ahead and just say, you know what? This didn't work. It's time for us to just go ahead and hit the reset button. The Cowboys, they've sucked for how many years already?
Well,
you know,
I mean, back 12-win seasons. They had a playoff win just recently.
But to me, it's these back-to-back 12-win seasons mean absolutely nothing because they cannot get far in the playoffs. They couldn't even get out of the wild card.
They haven't been to the conference final since
like,
'96, man.
With all the talent that they have.
Mariah Carey, Boys to Men, One Sweet Day was the number one song when the Cowboys were last in the Super Bowl. Let's see some of the comments coming on right now. Navarro coming out, just outright saying it. 3 words, Dak ain't it.
Finally, another Cowboy fan that thinks like me.
Little Mac coming the other way, saying Dak was second in the MVP vote without a legit run game. The Dak hate is ridiculous. Now, speaking of no run game, I mean, is Zeke Elliott going to go in and be RB1 because the Cowboys literally have no running game?
The Dak hate is ridiculous. It's not ridiculous. It's well-founded because if you're a quarterback that demands to get paid and you're going to be putting up numbers where, look at what Little Mac said, second in MVP voting, whatever, you still can't win the big game.
Well, ESPN has their their depth chart right now. RB1, they have Zeke Elliott. Back, baby. Zeke is back, baby. Rico Dowdle, Deuce Vaughn, and Royce Freeman right behind Zeke Elliott there, according to ESPN. Let's see some more comments out there as we go to 2 box over here.
Yeah.
Let's see here. We saw Navarro saying Dak ain't it. Tony Ornella saying Jerry Jones. Scroll up. Jerry Jones is hoping to sell the Cowboys. Just hope he does it soon. Jerry Jones tells lies. He doesn't want to win championships. Sell it now so maybe new ownership can change the organization for the better. Man, I don't think the Cowboys are ever going to be sold, man. The Jones family will own forever and ever and ever. Amen. Because who's the one running the team that's not named Jerry? It is Steven. And what is Steven's last name? It is Jones. Do we have a call coming in?
Hello?
Yes.
I lost my...
You sound good. What's going on?
Okay. There we are. Now I can hear myself. Yeah, we do. We do have a call coming in.
Oh, my goodness.
We have the one and only Jefe. Jeff Garcia on the line.
Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs and Ken's 5. My brother. What's going on, Jeff? How you doing?
Doing all right. Sorry for the delay. I double booked, man. Double booked.
Well, I'm glad that you're here because we'll talk a little bit about the Spurs with you, but I'm also doing my movie review. My nostalgic movie reviews are back. Going to review the 1993 cult classic Demolition Man starring Wesley Snipes and Sylvester Stallone.
Do you think Mike learned how to use the 3 shells, Jeff?
Nobody learned how to do the 3 shells. It was a mystery to the Jimenez. It was a mystery to the bitter end. Like literally, that was like the final scene.
Do you want to do this review now, or do we talk Spurs later? We bookend it with Spurs talk at the end. Let's talk about the movie. Let's do the entertainment bump. The entertainment.
No. Okay. For the retro movie review.
Oh, there you go.
I got you.
Oh, okay. Is that a DeLorean? That is nice. Who is that? Men at Work?
Got that 80s vibe to it.
I like it, dude. I like it. We're joined by Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs and Ken's 5. Don't forget to subscribe to Locked On Spurs on YouTube, Spotify, wherever you get podcasts. He's at Jeff G Spurs Zone on Twitter and on Threads. So last night, or should I say this morning, midnight, I turned on Demolition Man. Came out in 1993. I was 16 years old when this movie came out. And as I joked earlier today, no one told me that there was a movie where there's going to be fighting between Rocky Balboa and Willie Mays Hayes with a young Sandy Bullock
and a very not ashamed of plugging Taco Bell left and right.
That is true.
Taco Bell, I remember that.
That is true. Which I gave a negative points to when it came to T2 when I gave that review because of the whole Pepsi everywhere in the background.
Well,
But
at least with Demolition Man, they were unapologetic about it. It was just obvious, and I appreciated that. It was just in your face, funny.
So Demolition Man takes place in the year 1996. I rather enjoyed the fact that they fast forward to the year 2032, and we're so damn close to 2032. But it's basically about a cop that Sylvester Stallone plays. He's known as the Demolition Man because, he goes out and he's the hero half the time, but when he does that, he destroys a lot of stuff, right?
Yeah.
It reminds me of the other guys, right? Remember Samuel L. Jackson and The Rock? They were the two cops who they rescue people, but they destroy everything in its wake. So he ends up getting arrested with Wesley Snipes' character, and he gets arrested because of involuntary manslaughter because he did an unauthorized raid. And because of that raid, it led to the death of 30 people who were on a bus that were taken hostage. So his punishment was to be frozen.
Which one? Wesley Snipes or Sly?
Both.
Oh, okay.
Both of them. They were both frozen for many, many years. I think it was 70 years.
I thought the Demolition Man got in trouble because he blew up a building that had kids in it.
Right, but it was the raid that Sylvester Stallone did on that compound that got him arrested.
Gotcha.
Because it was not authorized. So that being said, I'm there going, my goodness, this movie is the genesis. It's the beginning, the foundation of several movies, because when they said that he was going to go down and they were going to freeze him, I thought to myself, the visuals of this remind me of the Matrix when they put the Neo into the system. They put him in the Matrix. And then the movie Minority Report with Tom Cruise, it reminded me of that because, again, whenever you get punished in a way that's very similar to this. You get put basically in a shelf, if you will. So it reminded me a lot of that. So I was already beginning to respect this movie because I was like, oh my God, this movie seems to be very it's the foundation piece for a lot of other movies that we've seen out there.
But like ahead of its time, maybe.
Yeah. Yes. And then I see people out there like, I'm like, oh my God, there's Sandra Bullock, a young Sandra Bullock. And then I'm excited because I realize this is before Speed. We have the dude from the Shawshank Redemption, the warden, who's also playing a top cop in that movie.
Yeah.
You also have the fact that you have the fat dude from Beetlejuice.
Yep.
You've got Rob Schneider from SNL, the guy going making copies, right? He's playing that type of role over there. I finally found out what 187 means: murder, death, kill. I knew it meant murder.
You got a young Benjamin Bratt too.
A young Benjamin Bratt, and basically, after I guess there was a great earthquake and whatnot, and the rebuilding of civilization, everyone became wusses, right?
Pretty much.
Violence was outlawed, sex was outlawed, anything that was alcohol was outlawed, tobacco, drugs, all that stuff. And they were living a society of everyone just being nice to each other. And eventually you see Wesley Snipes' character escape. He goes out and he starts terrorizing the area. And people are asking the question, well, how did that happen? I don't want to give away the movie, but how did that happen? And essentially they decide, well, we're not built for this. We're not built for this. We're not built for this type of violence. Like Rob Schneider, quote, we're not trained for this type of violence, right? Mm-hmm. By the way, I enjoyed the fact that in the police district, in the police office, there's a big poster of Lethal Weapon. And one of my favorite parts was when the fact that Sandra Bullock's character is kind of like a fangirl, for 90s nostalgia, and is a fangirl of Sylvester Stallone's character.
Yep.
And they had an awkward sex scene.
Oh, the halo?
With the helmet thing.
With the helmet, which, by the way, again, virtual reality. I was like, what in the virtual reality is this? And then you have the question about the tacos, the toilet paper, the 3 taco shells.
3 shells.
Every time you cuss, you're owed money. Some classic phrases in there. What seems to be your boggle?
Yeah.
And
then the funny part too was to have a joy day.
You have a joy day.
Joy day.
Sandra Bullock, he's finally matched his meat. You really licked his ass.
Or take this job and shovel it.
The Love Boat sex scene. Sylvester Stallone learning how to sew. the rat burger,
Carne de rata.
Wesley Snipes wanting to bring back Jeffrey Dahmer. So much going on in this movie. Okay, so Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs and Kent's 5, Joe Garcia, producer extraordinaire, co-host extraordinaire. I'm going to give you my rating on this movie.
All right.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Because
Jeff.
Pledger was interested in this.
Yeah.
My review on this one, my rating on it is an A+++.
Really? All right.
Dude,
I got to give him props,
it
Jeff.
was ahead of
Good
its
job.
it was ahead of its time. Dude, the fact that they were using iPads
Oh, yeah.
20 years before iPads existed. The fact
You know what it threw me off too? If you look at the uniforms, the cop uniforms, I literally thought it said San Antonio PD.
Well, because it says
SAPD.
it says SAPD because it's no longer Los Angeles. It's now San Angeles.
Yeah.
Oh, look at Sam Salinas brings up. Don't forget about the Schwarzenegger Presidential Library.
Oh yeah, that was funny, dude. That was funny. I enjoyed it all, man. Sandra Bullock looking like a nugget. She was America's sweetheart, and then she goes on to do Speed, and then later on goes back with Benjamin Bratt to do Miss Congeniality. I was a big fan of this movie. I'll be honest with you. I was there going,
There she is, Sandra Bullock.
there are some movies that look like a nugget. There are certain movies out there that don't age well. I would say the Demolition Man, because you guys saw it when you guys were teenagers or in your early 20s.
Yeah.
You had a different appreciation for it because
I was in college when it came out.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. The appreciation that you have for it was that was a very entertaining movie for its time. It's still entertaining. And secondly, so much of it came true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So much of it came true. And then the comedy's there, the dry wit, saying a curse word, the action. You say a curse word and all of a sudden a ticket automatically prints out. The no sex allowed, which by the way, don't get me wrong, that Halo thing. I mean, I would have done it with Sandra Bullock. I mean, the guns in the museum.
But look at the way these guys were dressed. They look like they belonged in a cult or something, dude.
Here's another little tidbit about that movie. It produced one of the rarest toy lines and known.
Really?
It's not number one, but they actually had a toy line of it.
Really?
And it was so rare that they go for top dollar now.
So if you have these toys and you can sell them for top dollar, like you said, you can make some coin on this,
You
man.
can make a little bit. You can make a little cash on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And here's another thing too. So that toy line was so short run, but what happened was I believe it was Kenner. They reused the molds from the Demolition Man action figures, and they applied that mold to the Mission Impossible toy line. There's actually a Mission Impossible toy line. So if you look at an old Mission Impossible Tom Cruise figure, it looks just like the Sylvester Stallone action figure from Demolition Man.
The movie got pretty decent reviews, but I'm looking at the totals in the United States. It didn't do well in the U.S. I mean, worldwide it did fine. It was a budget of about $70 million. It doubled its money.
It was one of those cult classics that wasn't popular at the time, but grew a following afterwards.
Yeah, and I'm just looking at it, thinking to myself, why wasn't this bigger than what it was?
Yeah, here's a scene from the movie. He doesn't know how to use the seashells.
Yeah,
Seashell, yeah.
this is the guy in the back making copies. Like that's where it all came from. And Sandra Bullock, as Sith Elias, reaches out to us on our YouTube stream saying, "If she's a nugget, he wants a 10-piece." Jonathan C. coming out saying, if you think that movie was ahead of its time, you should watch Idiocracy. It predicted the future. I agree. I've seen Idiocracy. I saw Idiocracy about... My ex-girlfriend showed me Idiocracy. So that was probably 2011, 2010 is when I first saw it. So not when it first came out, but it wasn't that old when I saw it.
Another little thing about this, it's not the first time that Stallone and Schneider worked together. They also worked together in Judge Dredd.
Oh yeah,
very cool. I haven't seen that movie either.
Oh, there's the big guy that you're talking about.
The fat dude from Beetlejuice.
Yeah,
I was hoping he'd carry around that bongo and do the daylight come, man, me wanna go home. And then Dennis Leary.
Is that Jack Black, dude?
I don't know.
Was Jack Black in this movie? That looks awfully like Jack Black.
I don't think he was.
Do you know what my favorite part of this movie was? Or I knew I was gonna like it. It is Jack Black, by the way.
It is, right?
It is? Okay.
It is Jack Black. What I liked about the movie was the first scene and they have a helicopter, you know,
The
with
three
Sylvester Stallone.
sails.
It has a helicopter, and it has Sylvester Stallone in there, and he's talking to some black dude, and I'm like, that black dude looks familiar, and I realize he's the FBI agent from Die Hard who died in the helicopter scene in that movie. I'm like, dude, that guy's typecast. I called Pledger about it. Pledger was laughing. He goes, yeah, I guess that guy is typecast. But all in all, it was great comedy. It foretold the future. It was good acting. We got Wesley Snipes being, bat crap crazy. You had Sylvester Stallone doing Sylvester Stallone things. You had a funny sex scene. We don't know what the 3 shells is about. Taco Bell, I did not mind the branding of Taco Bell because they made it funny.
Yeah, they made it funny. Yeah, they weren't hiding. One other thing, I'm going to give you a grade out real quick, but another thing about the movie was that it came out at the same time when Dennis Rodman was a Spur, and he adapted Wesley Snipes' blonde hair when he was a Spur, and he actually revealed the blonde hair look from Demolition Man, Wesley Snipes, when he did his introduction to San Antonio. And then Rodman was nicknamed the Demolition Man during his time in San Antonio.
Yeah, that's why he went ahead, and I think he did it at North Star Mall. He went to North Star Mall and got his hair did, and then they had that whole thing like Jeff was saying, a little bit of Spurs history here. But Jeff, I know you're going to have to get going here, but is there anything that you're working on, any breaking news that you can report to us?
Yeah, I don't know if y'all saw, I had a chance to talk to both Harrison Barnes and Chris Paul yesterday at their intro conferences. I got Barnes told me that he understands that the current Spurs rebuild will take time for those Spurs fans who say no, speed it up. He said to me that the biggest thing right now that he sees looking from the outside in right now is that collectively the team needs to start sharing experiences on the court, not individual player development as we saw over the last few years, as a collective now. CP3 told me that he wants Spurs fans to know that to forgive him now, because he may act a certain way during the game. He said he's going to be doing that because he wants W's and he wants to do whatever it takes to get W's. I'll have an article on that on Kens5.com later today. And then Locked On Spurs is about to debut any second now.
Yeah, but that's what we kind of talked about too, is Chris Paul apologizing forehand, to the Spurs fans, because what I think is going to happen, since he is that leader out on the court, he's going to wind up getting in their face if they're out of position, calling them out if they're not playing
Avery
the way
Johnson
they should.
Did it. Yeah. Avery Johnson did it. Mario Ellie did it. Tony Parker did it.
I like it, Jeff. I think this is what this young team needs,
Yeah, I think so. I think they need a kick in the butt every time, from time to time. But again, that's coming out soon on Kens5.com/Spurs. And then Locked On Spurs is, like I said, going to drop any minute now in about 10, 15 minutes. So we're putting Brian Wright in the spotlight today.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for my invite for Locked On Spurs this week.
I'm sorry?
I said I'm waiting for my invite for Locked On Spurs maybe this week.
Dude, you know what? I'm glad you brought that up, because I just texted somebody. Slots fill up. I think nowadays slots fill up so fast.
Yeah.
Like so fast. Like we're already slots already taken up until Monday now.
Oh, okay.
So
maybe next week, Jeff.
Well, that's what I'm about to say. Next week is a little. So we're looking at sometime after Tuesday.
All right.
As of now, it'll clear up. So don't be surprised if I text you later today.
What were you gonna say, Mike?
Guess what I'm just buying right now?
What are you getting?
I'm just logging in. I'm buying a Stephon Castle jersey.
Oh, there
I'm in. My son.
They're out already? They're out already?
Fanatics has them going for $79.99. The black jerseys, the Icon Edition jersey.
But you're gonna have to get like a patch that has the castle, so you can wear it on the front.
I think he was wearing a sweatshirt that had a castle on it in his post-game chat yesterday night after beating Team China. He had it looked like that might be like his new logo, but again, I'm not too sure. I just saw it. It's like a gray sweater with a red castle-looking logo on it. So it has me thinking, is that his thing? Is that
his nickname is Malibu, baby. Malibu Castle, baby.
Wemby's Castle. I want Wemby and Castle on the shirt, and on the back, I want the Malibu Castle logo, but I wanted to say Wemby's Castle.
The Chateau.
Yeah, the Chateau. All right, Jeff, we'll go ahead and let you go, but thank you so much for giving us some of your time today.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Y'all take care.
Yes, sir. Bye-bye.
Very cool. That's Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs and Kens 5. You can follow him on Twitter and Threads at Jeff G Spurs Zone. If you want to show my screen, this is what I'm talking about here. This is on Fanatics, NBA.store.com or store.nba.com rather. Stephon Castle jerseys up for sale. I like it. I want to be the first on my block to get one.
Cutoff shirt or no cutoff shirt?
Dude, no cutoff shirts, dude. You wear a regular shirt because you're a grown-ass man, dude. If you're a grown-ass man showing armpit hair all over town, get over yourself.
Marco Cavazos, wear it without the undershirt. He will win Rookie of the Year.
Nice. So y'all can see the eczema on the top of my arm.
Oh,
Nice.
Lord.
Great. Hey, let's get nostalgic here real fast. We already got nostalgic with the talk about Demolition Man. Are you surprised at my grade?
I am surprised at your grade. We and Jeff, we both thought that you weren't going to really like this movie too much.
Well,
You know?
I if you look on my screen,
Sure.
no human contact is allowed for the most part, so that was the high five.
Oh,
nice.
God, man. But we didn't think you were going to really get into
I
this
loved
movie.
it. I loved it, dude. I loved it.
It was just out
I'm
there.
gonna watch it again tonight. I loved it.
And what happened, you know, when they get into accidents now, the whole car filled with foam.
Yeah,
That was all weird, bro. Like, you're going to get in an accident. You're like, what?
it saved your life though.
Yeah.
We were talking yesterday how yesterday was the 20-year anniversary of Anchorman.
Oh, yeah.
And therefore, if it's a 20-year anniversary of Anchorman, it cannot be considered the best movie of the last 20 years when it comes to comedies. So what takes the crown now? 112 votes came in. It's a close one. I mean, the voting's still going on for 2 more hours. 31% saying Step Brothers, 26% saying Superbad, 24% saying The Hangover, and 19% saying Tropic Thunder. I mean, it's basically a quarter. It's like these are beloved movies, right? I'm going to put okay, first and foremost, when it first came out, the movie that stuck out the most to me was The Hangover. Because it was Hollywood, it was rock and roll, it was Bradley Cooper, it was Ed Helms, it was like Bradley Cooper. Well, that's that guy from Wedding Crashers, right?
Yeah.
And some of the lines in there about, you know, I'm a doctor, well, you're a dentist, you know, lines like that. And then you've got the fact that you've got Zach Galifianakis' character, Alan, and that's a character that was
everybody has an Alan in the crew. Man.
They do, and Mr. Chow. And all of that stuff.
Hey, man, Heather Graham was looking really good.
It was supposed to be Lindsay Lohan.
But Heather Graham pulled it off, man.
So I agree. But, you know, you look at The Hangover and you go back in time to these iconic scenes. I mean, the great thing about this movie was the first scene, which we're looking at right now, when he's like, I don't think it's going to happen. The wedding's later on today. I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And then it goes back in time
to the baby.
When he's making the baby jerk off.
Oh, yeah.
And Ed Helms' character is like not wanting to laugh, but it breaks through. Ed Helms' character towards the end, when he finally steps up to his girlfriend or whatever she is, and says, "Well, this ain't working for me." The missing the tooth, the song that Ed Helms sings.
And
at the piano.
Who can forget? They're waking up from this bender they've been on. They can't remember nothing. He goes to the bathroom. There's a tiger.
Black Doug.
Oh God!
I mean, so great. Now the movies that came out afterwards were not that great. You know, the sequels. But man, when that came out, I thought that was so good. Then we go back in time. We go 2 box here. Yeah. We go back in time to like Superbad. You Save Me, and you have Seth Rogen and Michael Cera and Jonah Hill, young Jonah Hill. You got the guy McLovin comes out of nowhere and steals the movie, Christopher Mintz-Plasse. You go off from that to you see a young Emma Stone, and then there's Nadia and all that. No, Nadia, that's American Pie. I'm thinking of the girl's name. The one that McLovin was in love with. I think it was Nadia, if I'm not mistaken.
Maybe I'm remembering.
But anyway, that was a great movie, and it still lives on, dude. Step Brothers. I like Step Brothers. I'm surprised that it was winning our poll.
Why?
Because it's a good movie. Don't get me wrong. It's a good movie. the California wine mixer, all that stuff, the don't touch my drums.
Did you touch my drums?
Yeah. The hot mom, Mary Steenburgen, she's always been a nugget throughout all these years. She's probably 70 now, but
She's married to Ted Danson.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest with you. Out of all 4 of those movies, I put it at 4. I like it. It's a good movie. It deserves to be on the Mount Rushmore the last 20 years. But then you go off and you look at like Tropic Thunder.
Yeah.
Tropic Thunder lives on, man. The what do you mean, you people? The booty sweat. Tom Cruise's character. It all just lives on. I think that movie has aged very well and very bad at the same time. Because again, younger people look at Robert Downey Jr. in blackface and think that it's offensive, but it wasn't offensive because what he was doing was making fun of people who were in blackface. That's the thing. Lots of comments coming in about it, by the way. Some people saying, well, why not Borat?
Oh, God, dude. Borat is one of those that you either love it or you hate it. There's no in between.
Right.
And it's raunchy comedy, dude. It's out there, man.
Others saying semi-pro. I'm going to give out something that's probably going to get me roasted. Semi-pro might be one of the worst Will Ferrell movies. It's watchable. It's like going to Long John Silver. It's like going to Taco Bell.
Yeah.
It's edible. It's not any good. It's not bad. It's not any good. Will Ferrell has so many good movies out there, dude, from Old School to Anchorman and all these movies. Semi-pro ain't it, man. They're funny scenes. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Dude, I thought Dodgeball was better than Semi-pro.
Dodgeball was a good one. I like Dodgeball. But, let's go ahead and take a quick pause here and give a shout out to our sponsor, MCS General Contracting.
Yeah.
Bear with me here. MCS General Contracting, more than 30 years of combined experience in concrete placement. They are the best in the business. Honest pricing, high quality work. They get going on house foundations, driveways, concrete patio decks. If you want to extend the deck, extend the driveway. If you're a business and you need to put together a slab, a parking lot, or other concrete placement services or sidewalks, reach out to MCS General Contracting at 210-774-9155. They're confident in their skills, so give Chris Leha over at MCS General Contracting a call at 210-774-9155. And thank you for being a sponsor of this show.
He's a sponsor. He's also an avid watcher and supporter of this show. Very good, man. Very good. And I am a client. They did a concrete slab in my backyard. They did a patio extension and a sidewalk. Looks amazing.
Yeah, if you want to add value to your home and or business, go ahead and give MCS General Contracting a call. They can go ahead and do that for you, whether it be concrete, you need something done for your business, maybe you need a slab poured out in the back, or you want to go ahead and have a patio out there like some of these bars do now. Hey, give MCS General Contracting a call because they're going to do it right the first time.
If you need a parking lot, you need a ramp done, a basketball court, a tennis court, reach out to them. Chris Gonzalez saying semi-pro is Marbach nice?
Oh, my God.
Sam Salinas coming out strong, man. Here's a take right here. Saying Will Ferrell movies were carried by supporting casts. And that starts with Anchorman. Well, Anchorman had Paul Rudd as Brick, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
No, Brick was Steve Carell.
Yeah.
It was Brian Fantana. With the Sex Panther.
Yeah.
And then you had Christina Applegate. It was an ensemble. You had Vince Vaughn help carry Old School. Right?
Yeah.
He was an ensemble guy. You're right. He didn't really carry it. The supporting cast that he's had have been amazing. John C. O'Reilly with Step Brothers was just as funny. Others are saying other questions about Tropic Thunder, talking about how it was an all-time cast. Chris Gonzalez is saying the Tropic Thunder is an all-time cast. Think about it, man. Robert Downey Jr., Ben Stiller, Jack Black, Tom Cruise, some of the dudes from SNL, Bill Hader. Great movie, dude.
And here's one of your scenes that you like so much from this movie, where Jack Black's punching.
Did someone punt Baxter? What did the bad man do? I'm in a glass case of emotion.
Punted Baxter, dude.
Jonathan C. reminding us the Tropic Thunder also had Matthew McConaughey
Oh yeah,
try to get Ben Stiller the TiVo.
the damn TiVo, bro.
And the TiVo saves the day at the end. and then whenever he throws it up in the air, and McConaughey does this thing when the helicopter's taking off, he's going, and then he runs off into the jungle.
Yeah.
Where is he going?
And the fat suit with Tom Cruise was funny.
Tom
at the
Cruise
end.
with the fat hands.
Oh yeah,
The hands
dude.
are like 3 times the size of a normal hand.
Yep.
If you go back, go on TikTok and look up Tom Cruise Tropic Thunder. There'll be a retrospective where he talks about how Ben Stiller gave him the script and was like, "Hey, what do you think about this script?" And Tom Cruise basically said, "I want to be in this movie, but you need to have a studio executive who's on these guys' asses." And they wrote that character for him, and then he goes in saying, "I want to dance," and that dancing at the end. I swear, Joe, when I saw that movie and at the end credits, I did not know it was Tom Cruise.
Yeah, man, that's. Tom
I did not
Cruise.
know that was Robert Downey Jr. until 2/3 of the way into the movie when, his pigment's coming off and you realize that it's Robert Downey Jr.
He has his blue eyes.
Yeah.
The-
Dude, some of the best parts of Tropic Thunder. You know what? Screw that. I'm gonna say Tropic Thunder is the best movie, best
Jeez.
comedy of the last 20 years. The beginning of the movie where it's credits,
Yeah.
it's opening trailers to movies that don't exist. That's an art form. I mean, Forgetting Sarah Marshall had that at the end of the movie when it came to Sarah Marshall being in a movie with Jason Bateman.
Yeah.
a TV show about a dog psychic, right?
Oh, God.
You don't remember that? But in this one, you have Robert Downey Jr. and Tobey Maguire as monks in the 1400s, where it was taboo to be gay, and they're touching each other's rosaries.
Jeez,
And they're touching each other's fingers. Dude, it's so freaking good, man. It's so good. You have Jonathan C. saying Tobey Maguire being in Satan's Alley. Man. So I saw a thing on TikTok. It was an interview with Robert Downey Jr. where they asked him the question, not only did you get away with being in blackface, but also the fact that you got nominated for an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor. Can you imagine if he had won? But they were talking about the fact that he said, man, he goes, no one came after me because they realized I wasn't making fun of black people. I was like, he got a hood pass for that because they respected what he was doing. They thought it was funny. But he was saying that Ben Stiller was the one getting the heat because of Simple Jack.
Oh God.
And then Maria Menounos from Entertainment Tonight, when he goes, "You make me happy," and then she comes back with, "Well, is this movie going to make money?" Maria Menounos, all-time nugget.
Dude, she comes out every time before the theater, before your movies are playing, right?
Yeah,
She does that movie trivia or whatever with you. She's hot, dude. She's still hot.
46 years old. Dude, she has been around forever. Do you know what she reminds me of? She reminds me of Vanna White. I'm showing some photos of this Hall of Fame nugget. She will be like Vanna White. Vanna White 20 years from now. I mean, Vanna White is like in her 60s now. I can picture Maria Menounos being just as hot as she is now at 65. Nugget. You know what? It's a Greek nugget right there.
Yeah.
That's that Greek blood, that Greek skin, that olive skin. Maria Menounos. Did you see when she got proposed to?
No.
Let's see if I can find that one. She had been with her boyfriend for like years. And she was on, I want to say she was on the Howard Stern show. So this is courtesy of the Howard Stern show. Look at her as an absolute nugget. This was in 2016. Can you imagine the fact that she had been with a guy for a decade and he had yet to put a ring on it?
Well, but the thing is we don't know what the thing was happening behind the scenes. Maybe they both weren't ready to like, hey, let's go ahead and make this official. They got to talk it out.
Well, she was like, well, I love my man. We don't have any issues. And that's her now husband who appeared on the show. And he was, Howard Stern was giving him crap like, dude, how do you keep this girl on with you for so long that she's beautiful? She's a dime. And you never did anything to put a ring on it. And this whole interview just goes on where they're talking about, well, maybe one day we'll get married. She's like, maybe one day we'll get married. And he makes his way over and proposes.
Did he have the ring?
He did.
So Howard Stern was setting him up.
Yeah, I think Howard Stern was doing him a solid, giving
Yeah.
him a platform to do this on. But this was from 2016. I remember this happening when it happened. She was shocked, but it was a great line. I don't know what this guy over here is doing, giving him a headset. We want to hear this. You know?
Get the mic,
Get
brother.
the mic, dude. Good. Let's put this over here. We got to hear what you're saying. There you go. Oh, it drops on his face.
Fire him, bro.
Again, courtesy of Howard Stern, a show on SiriusXM Radio. When Maria Menounos back in 2016, the Nugget got proposed to on the Howard Stern show. And she said, look how big, you can see that rock room over here. That thing sparkles, dude. Was with her for so long. And you know what? Again, we bring this up because she was in Tropic Thunder. She couldn't believe it. Look at her. Nugget, dude. Nugget. People still going off about Tobey Maguire. Satan's Alley.
James Pledger told me Maguire got bit by a spider. Me, it was a goat.
I want to look up Satan's Alley right now, dude. This is
jeez, man.
We gotta show this. I don't think we're allowed to, but this is the funniest thing, dude. Just in a time when things like this were not allowed. Robert Downey just looking at him. And it's the Gregorian chant music in the background. Oh, this is so good, man. Playing with the beats.
Jeez. Like, how are they not laughing?
Kirk Lazarus and Tobey Maguire for MTV Movie Award winner for Best Kiss. Satan's Alley.
Oh man.
Courtesy of Warner Brothers. My goodness, man.
Jeez, bro.
Oh my God. Tropic Thunder. All-time great movie. Can never be made again. I saw it on Pluto the other day. Oh, what a great movie.
Jonathan sees how I remember the name of the movie scares me.
It was Paramount Pictures and DreamWorks, by the way. That's courtesy of Jonathan see when Lance Bass is the gay lover at the end. I said Nance. Did you say Lance? I said Nance. I like the booty sweat.
My favorite character in this has to be Jack Black, dude. Where at the very end, he's been trying to, go on a sabbatical. I'm going to be off the junk, right? And he lands in that room, right? They fall through the ceiling, right?
Yeah.
And he lands in the room and he just looks at the table and he's like, oh, man, I'm back.
Dude, it was so great when he's there with all the cocaine and heroin.
Oh, my God.
And then they tie him up and he's like, if you untie me, I'll drink all the juices and the gravy.
Oh, man.
I'll cradle the balls.
Jack Black was wild in that movie. Oh, you know what I'm going to do before we go ahead and end the show?
Yeah.
I'm going to give a quick shout out to our boys here, man.
Yeah.
Sith Elias and Big Papi Brandon Medina, man. They're going to be hosting another X Spaces. And this is going to be a wrestling Spaces that they're going to have. And it's going to happen on Friday after WWE SmackDown. So it's going to start about 10 minutes after WWE SmackDown ends. So make sure you go ahead and give them some loves and jump in the chat. And we had a good discussion the last time we did this. Something that Sith and Brandon are doing to kind of foster this community. So make sure you go ahead and give them some support and go out there and, be part of the show with them. It's gonna be fun.
Definitely. So support local podcasting, because what are we doing here? Joe, I went back in time and I watched our first episode ever the other day. I was sick as a dog, by the way. I had no voice.
I remember I had to give you the Buffalo Trace.
Yeah, that's right. Still owe you from back then.
Yeah.
But we were talking about wanting to disrupt the industry, right? We have close to 1,000 subscribers, 976. You guys get us over the hump, man. 24 more. Give us people. Don't just do it on another device. Give us actual people to do this, right? And I went back and forth the other day with Mike Taylor, and I congratulated him on 4,000. And he was like, dude, keep it up, man. You guys are doing a great job. Keep it up.
Yeah.
And again, there's no animosity. We are supporters of each other. They're doing their thing. We're doing our thing. They have their supporters. We have ours. And some go back and forth between the two, which is great. Dude, I'm from Thunderdome.
Yeah.
I was a Thunderdome guy. I was a Rudy J guy, dude. I remember going to San Antonio Sports Star, and the first time they had Rudy J on my show, I was in awe.
You were starstruck?
I was starstruck. I was not afraid to do a show with Minix or Pledge or necessarily with Rob. But when Rudy J stepped into the booth and was like, yeah, dog, just fly it, just drive it, and I'll be the passenger.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, but you're Rudy J. He goes, shut up.
I remember,
no, but he didn't say shut up in a mean way. He was like, shut up. Like, it made him feel uncomfortable that I was fanboying.
Yeah. I remember the first time I saw Rudy J was at the Ticket 760 when he was doing the Sports Grind with Cal and Salami. I was doing the Spurs React with Chris Duell at the time. So we would go on after they would end their show. And I remember, everybody's coming out of the booth and Rudy J just looks over and he goes, what's good, fellas?
Yeah. Dude, Rudy could be mayor of the city of San Antonio.
Yeah.
You know that? Because everybody loves him. Everybody loves Rudy J. He's the most smooth guy that you'll see out there. He's a hard worker. The guy is a great father. I've got to meet his wife, great husband, all that stuff. I love me some Rudy J. And then Mike Taylor's been really, really good with us. He's been very supportive of our podcast, our network. These are good things, man. We can do this together. We don't have to do it backstabbing each other or anything like that.
Yeah, look at what Little Max says. He says, interacting with the chat is gold. It is, man.
And it helps guide the show a little bit.
Yeah, you guys help the show go because sometimes me and Mike got nothing. We come in here and he'll look at me and he's like, I got nothing. I say, I might have one or two things and I really don't have much either. But then as we're starting to go and we're doing the show, sometimes it's driven by what you guys want us to talk about.
when Chris Gonzalez, when Mike saw Rudy J, he wanted to touch his beads. Sports Star Alley.
Oh my God, man.
Actually, it wasn't Sports Star back then. It was just ESPN San Antonio Alley.
Speaking of supporting local, man, why don't you all go ahead and give some love to our boy Rudy Campos Jr. and what they're doing over there with Sweep the League, man. They're trying to go ahead and grow their following. They're about 133 subscribers strong right now. So if you subscribe to this show, make sure you go and show them some love too and subscribe to Sweep the League TV.
MySA.com. Congratulations, by the way, to Sarah Spivey from KSAT 12. She announced that she and her her fella are expecting a baby. They released photos of the sonogram.
Congrats.
And her baby bump. KSAT meteorologist Sarah Spivey. Big fan of the weather, a meteorologist here at KSAT and at Ken's 5. Big fans, but the baby is due on the 24th. Also, interesting story about, not interesting, but it just is what it is. Did you know that Friday is National French Fry Day?
Really?
And there are 7 restaurants that are going to offer free French fries.
Of course, Whataburger is going to do it.
Bar Louie.
Yeah.
Offering free fries tossed in truffle oil and Parmesan.
Damn.
From 3 to 7.
They're doing it fancy.
Fat Burger. You can redeem one skinny or fat order of fries online with a promo code Friday24. Other places, Raising Cane's. You got to use their app. They're going to be giving away orders on the 11th and 12th, which is tomorrow and the next day. McDonald's, you can order a free order of medium fries on Friday, every Friday until the end of the year using their rewards program and their app.
McDonald's fries are expensive nowadays. They're like $4 or something, dude.
Wayback Burgers offer also. Wendy's.
Oh my God. Wendy's fries are the saltiest fries I've ever had in my life.
They're salty, but you put it in the Frosty though, man. You put in the vanilla or chocolate Frosty.
Bro.
It's all good.
You eat one of those fries, and as soon as it touches your lips, you're like, man, I need some water.
Yeah. Whataburger app users can take advantage of a medium fry order of fries on Friday. So again, you need to have the Whataburger app. Again, Friday is on Friday. Get it?
Yeah.
Get it?
Friday.
Lots of stuff going on.
There you go, Little Mac. He says, subscribing to Sweep the League after the show. Thanks, man. We appreciate you showing some support to Rudy Campos and what they're doing over there.
Congratulations to Derek White, now part of Team USA, replacing Kawhi Leonard on Team USA. Kawhi Leonard backing down, saying that he was ready to go. He had some practices in there, but it looks and sounds like the Clippers were like, nah, dude, you get back to LA, you rehab that knee. Stephon Castle looked great last night.
Yeah, look at little Mac.
Harrison Ingram did too.
He says, if y'all are in Austin, go to Hyde Park Bar and Grill and order the fries with special sauce.
Can I tell you something, dude? I have been eating pretty well the last 4 or 5 days. I'm just saying, when I get back into it, I get back into it. I did a 5-mile hike yesterday.
Yeah.
When I get back into it, I get back into it. So let's see. I want to go 30 days. I'm going to a birthday party this weekend, which is going to be at the Wolf. It's going to be a missions game.
Okay.
My good friend Alex Noriega is turning 47. One of my best friends, and we're going to go out there and celebrate his birthday. But I can't go out there and ruin the diet. I'm going to go 30 days, dude. 30 days, because I went to Vegas twice. I went to Nashville. Went to Charlotte. I went to New Orleans twice.
Yeah.
I need to shut it down.
Detox.
And just for 30 days, eat well. And if I'm going to drink,
drink some vodka and water.
Vodka and water.
Man.
Exactly. That's basically what I'm going to be doing. See if I can be a new man after
vodka and tonic water is good for you because the vodka doesn't have a lot of sugar, man.
Yeah.
And it helps you lose some weight. But you're on your trek right now for your hot girl summer.
Yeah.
You want to get your summer bod.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of it.
Yeah.
That's part of it, but all the other part of it is that, I just want to clear it out, dude. It's been too much drinking this year. Just too much. And
I can attest to that. I've been privy to 1 or 2 times.
And I'm not saying that I'm not going to tie one on every once in a while, but it can't be every week anymore, dude. It cannot be every week. Speaking of tie one on, we forgot to talk about this. Mike Gundy, did you hear about this story? The head coach of the Oklahoma State Cowboys, the football coach.
Yeah.
Did you see the story?
No, I didn't see
I can't believe we didn't talk about this. This is my bad, man.
Oh, Pledger's in the chat too. He said, did he say Castle is his son? Jimenez got more kids than Phillip Rivers.
Mike Gundy, the OSU head coach, stepping up for one of his players who was arrested for DUI on Sunday, saying that he will not miss game time. In fact, his punishment might be to get more touches, right? Because he basically said, you know what? We all drive drunk every once in a while. I'd be a hypocrite if I didn't say that I hadn't done this. Now, the player did blow a .11. Gundy's there saying, well, I mean, how much is that really? Is that 3 beers? Because we've all done it.
Yeah.
And he's pulling the we all done it card, man. And it's true. But Pledger and I were arguing about this on the phone yesterday. Dude, I swear, I'm just going to tell Pledger that I'm calling him, and I'm going to put him on a Spaces, like a Twitter space, because Pledger and I will go off and talk sports for an hour and a half where we're arguing with each other the entire time. And it's great radio, but it's not radio. It's just our conversation, right? And Pledger was like, dude, Gundy was just sticking up for his guy. And I'm like, no, Gundy may be factually accurate. We've all done it. We've all driven home after a few cocktails. We've all driven home after 2 margaritas.
Doesn't mean it's right,
But Gundy is the highest paid state employee, more than likely, or he's at least one of the top 2. Maybe OU's head coach is more. The highest paid public employee in the state of Oklahoma. You shut your trap and you set the example. And on top of that, he should be saying, look, he should have called an Uber.
He should have called him. He should have called him and said, hey, man, I'll get you an Uber, get you back home.
Because if he's not going to punish this guy, he set the precedent. So that means all 90 other players on this team can do the same.
Yeah.
That's the problem. By the way, Mike Gundy is also the one who stood up for his quarterback that one time, handful of years ago, and says, you don't go after him, you go after me. I'm 40. I'm a man. Great quote. One of the greatest quotes of all time. Anyway.
Yeah, look, did Gundy tell the media to talk to him because he's a
man? Oh, yeah, okay. Everyone remembers him.
Look at Gundy, a legend for his rant.
I'm 40. I'm a man.
Ew, RC Buford.
As I heard the chat.
Oh, my God, man. RC Buford, who can ever forget his mugshot, dude? He just looked horrible.
Dude, I forgot about that, man.
Yeah, somebody had that on the X as their Twitter profile pic.
2011.
Do you have it?
Oh, my goodness.
There it is. I want to wear that on a shirt, man, and wear it to the Frost Center.
Let's see how long you last there, man.
When we go to get the nice seats again, like 5 rows from the court, and we get to that little private club that they have out there on the court, and we see RC in there.
Oh my God, they're showing photos of Coach Budenholzer.
Oh,
what was this article here? Does the Spurs team have a drinking problem?
God.
Oh, they're talking about Duncan's wife. Okay, well, let's drop this off. I don't want to go there.
Come on,
we went down. Dude, we
You're
went
going down another rabbit hole.
I was not even trying to, baby.
Jeez.
But you know what? I have suddenly become a big boy. Started taking Ubers, man.
Yeah, man, it's better to take the Uber.
Very nice. Everyone have a fantastic hump day. We'll be back tomorrow. Thank you for surviving the apocalypse that was no Wi-Fi yesterday.
Oh, the Spectrum outage.
Spread the word that we're doing what we're doing. Copy and paste. Tell people on Facebook, tell people on Twitter that we're doing what we're doing. We're 976 subscribers strong. Remember, someone posted yesterday. Remember when there was just 100?
Oh, yeah, remember.
Remember when there was just 200?
I remember that.
Remember when there was just 800 last month?
Yeah, man. It was 900 for a while, too. And then all of a sudden, the needle started moving again.
Only 8% of YouTube channels ever make it to 1,000. We're going to be part of that 8%. Thanks to everybody who's been watching. And there's more and more names on our YouTube chat, on our stream. And that's how we know that we're reaching out. We've got some international people who watch. Garrett. We had somebody yesterday from Poland.
Yeah. We got people watching us from all over Europe.
We've had
Philippines.
Some from Philippines, from France. We even had one from Korea a while back.
Yeah.
But my goodness, everyone have a fantastic day. I got to go make some money. Got to go sling that investments and insurances. I'm your guy for that. Everyone, have a great day. Joe, have a good day. We'll be back tomorrow.